What's going on, everybody? It's Joe Gentle with Team Take Profits. I'm here to help you trade and get paid. Welcome to Make Moves Monday. Motivation, mindset, trading psychology. Look, there's no fluff, no nonsense around here. We just make moves, not excuses. So before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out. It's actually our first Make Moves Monday shout out to Martin Oliveira. Been a long time supporter, commenting, always liking and commenting on the videos. Man, Martin, I appreciate you, bro. Just wanted to give you a shout out. So in today's video, we're going to talk about what you do once you enter a trade. So it's like, once I've entered a trade, now what? I'm in the market. Now what do I do? I see so many people constantly that get frantic. They're constantly looking at it and freaking out over it, especially those in the beginning. And we want to help you to make sure you have the proper mindset, not only executing the trade, but while you're in the trade. So let's talk about that today. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, click the bell to make sure you get notifications. Let's go. All right, guys. So today's video, we're going to talk about the mindset of being in a trade. Once I've entered a trade, now what? I've seen so many people who just get so frantic and frazzled, if you would, once they're in a trade and they're just constantly messing with it, constantly trying to adjust it and going back and just freaking out if there's a little bit of drawdown, and there's just so much that goes into being in a trade. When we think of trading and when we do a lot of the strategy, we don't talk about the time of being inside the trade. Most of the training that we have is about executing the trade. It's about seeing the charts, understanding the charts, and then how to get into the proper trade. Where do I enter? Where do I exit? But what about that time in the middle? What about the time that we're in the trade and we've already entered, but we're still in and we haven't exited the trade yet? That's vital time. We have to understand that we have to maximize that time if we're going to be successful trading. It's not just about the entry and the exit, because if we don't master the mindset of being in the middle, we can mess up so many things. We could have the most precise entry, and if we don't have our middle right, we won't have our exit right. So being in the trade and having the mindset to be in a trade, that's there's a lot to that. So I want to talk about that today. I kind of find it funny. I remember, we would play fantasy football, and I know this is kind of a different illustration, but I want to help you understand. We would play fantasy football, and for those of you who haven't played fantasy football, basically, you're picking players that you think are going to have good stats that week. Maybe a wide receiver that you think is going to catch a touchdown or have a lot of, receiving yards, or a quarterback who you think maybe is going to throw the ball and get great stats doing that. And, there's a lot that you look at. You look at the matchups. You look who that quarterback's playing against on defense. And, are his wide receivers healthy? There's so much that goes into that. And I remember when we used to play fantasy football, we would get into the, set our lineup, and we'd pick a quarterback and receivers and running backs. And as we started getting close to game time, we're kind of double and triple checking, and they called it tinkering. We would start to, well, maybe I should put this guy in. No, maybe I should switch it. And there would be times that you'd put a running back in, and then you'd switch them, and then you'd like, no, maybe I'd switch them back, and then oh man, maybe I'd switch, and you got all these. Again, we call it tinkering. We're kind of messing with it, just making those little adjustments based on the fact that we're not confident and not sure about the choice we made. And I know that's kind of a silly illustration, but we do the same thing in trading. Once we get into a trade, we're not confident exactly, on exactly what we did. So we start tinkering. We start maybe adjusting the stop loss. Maybe we should tighten the take profit. Maybe we should set take profit 1, 2, and 3. What happens if I go into drawdown? I enter the trade and now we're down a little bit. We're in the red. Man, maybe I should just close this and find a better entry. We start tinkering with it. We start second guessing, essentially, the decision that we made to get into the trade in the first place. And that's where so many traders mess up. is that we second guess the decision that we made. Guys, I want to talk to you today about that. I want to make sure that you have the proper mindset. When you make a decision to get in the market, I want you to be confident in that decision. I want you to know that when you press buy or sell, when you enter a trade, that you are confident in the decision that you made. You shouldn't be second guessing. You shouldn't be, being frazzled and kind of frantic about the decisions you make, because you should have had the proper confidence and preparation going into that trade, that you're confident in what you did, whether it be buy, sell at the right level or whatever it might be. Your proper mindset needs to be there, and that comes from preparation. The old carpenter, the saying that they would have is measure twice, cut once. I used to do a lot of carpentry for a living, and we build decks and houses and whatever else. And when we were making a cut, especially when you're talking about the finished product, we're not talking about rough carpentry. I'm talking about finished carpentry. We didn't just throw a measuring tape out there and just start cutting. We would measure it, we'd mark it, or if it's a big piece, we'd pop a line on it, and then we would double check. And we would measure at the top, measure at the bottom to make sure we had a straight, nice factory edge or whatever. We didn't just go and throw out some sloppy cut, because if we're going to have a finished product, we need to have straight cuts. We need to make sure that our measurements were accurate. And it's the same thing in trading. Measure twice, cut once, right? Why do they say that in carpentry? Because if you measure once, sometimes you're making a cut and then you have to go and adjust it. If you're making more than one cut, the likelihood is you're going to mess up eventually. You're going to cut it too short, or you're going to cut it at an angle, or something's going to be off, and now you got to go back and fix it and cut it down to the proper size or angle that you needed. Well, here's the problem: is that in trading, sometimes we don't get that opportunity. If you measure twice, we're cutting once. So in other words, if I'm prepared, if I took the time to get the proper measurements and the proper analysis before I entered the trade, I can be confident that my trade is what is the one I want to be in. It's the trade that I'm going to be confident in being in based on the analysis that I made. I don't want to get into a trade that I feel like maybe I'm unsure about, and I got to keep going back and adjusting it because maybe I didn't measure properly, maybe I didn't take a good enough look at it. Guys, preparation is everything. Understanding what it is you're doing before you do it, that's everything. Doing the proper market analysis and technical analysis is everything. Understanding the sentiment of the market is everything. Knowing all of the things that go into the market and go into the trade you're getting into before you get into the trade. Don't get into a trade and then go, oh, you know what? I didn't look at this or I didn't look at that. That's why I lost. No, we want to look at those things. Be thorough in your analysis. Be thorough in your preparation, and that's going to save you from missing out on profits in the long run, or from having the stress of being in a trade that you're not confident in. I know if I'm talking to anybody out there, I'm talking to myself. I remember especially when I first started trading, getting into a trade and it being more stressful. I remember going through my training and going through videos and classes going, excited about starting to trade and excited about, really getting in and starting to execute trades. And then once I actually started executing trades, I'm like, man, this is stressful. I'm like, my heart is pounding and this was stressful. And that was because I didn't understand proper analysis. But nowadays as a trader, it doesn't stress me out at all. And very rarely do I even go back and look at the charts, because once I've become confident enough to enter the market and enter a trade, whether it be long, short, buy, sell, whatever, once I'm confident enough to enter that trade, I've already measured, I've already done analysis, I've looked at my confirmations checklist, I've gone through the checklist of what that trade should look like. And by then, if I've pressed buy or sell, I'm confident enough to let the trade go. And if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. But I'm going to lose knowing I've done proper analysis. Okay? And does that mean I'm always right? No. I lose trades just like the rest of us. Nobody's 100% trader. But I can tell you this, I never lose a trade I wasn't confident in. I never lose a trade that I'm second guessing and tinkering with, because I've already done the analysis that I'm comfortable with. I've checked all my boxes, and I've entered a trade that I felt good about. Okay. I want you to remember this. Second measure beats second guess, right? When we take that second measure, when we've analyzed the charts, when we've taken a look at everything, and then we say, well, we feel thorough, but we take the time to go ahead and do that extra analysis to make sure we look at it one more time. And especially if you trade with a team, or if you trade with a group of people like we do, have somebody take a look at it. That's the benefit of trading like with a team like this, is because we can look at the trade together inside the groups and understand, the analysis, get a second point of view. When you take that time to do the second measure, you won't have to second guess. You won't have to be tinkering and messing with it and adjusting and second guessing your analysis, because you've been thorough and you're just confident in the trade that you took. And guys, if you're trading demo, if you think that the mindset or the emotion attached to demo trading, guys, I mean, I'm talking to you. Even on a demo account, it's not even real money. But you enter a trade and you can feel something going on when that money's going up and down and you're losing and winning, and there's something going on emotionally. There's some mindset and there's some mentality that goes along with that. That's that trading psychology. If you think it's like that on a demo account, wait till you start trading real money. Wait till you start getting into a live account where your real money is on the line, where you can lose real money. The emotion and psychology is just magnified even greater, and you have to understand that, this is real money we're dealing with. I better really be thorough and understand what it is I'm putting my money into. Thorough analysis is going to help you so much. Being prepared is going to help you so much that you won't have to second guess later. That second guessing is so stressful. It gets us to a point where it's like, it takes the fun out of trading. It takes the stress is so much. And I would just encourage you to do your proper analysis so that you don't have to second guess later. What happens too, guys, is we get that FOMO, right? One of the things I see people doing so much is over trading because they feel like they're going to miss out. Let me tell you this. The banks have been doing business the same way for a very long time. Years and years and years and years and years. The bank has been doing the business the same way every day. If there was a trade yesterday, there's going to be a trade tomorrow. If there's a trade this week, there's going to be a trade next week. Don't feel like you're going to miss out, so you have to enter a trade that you're not 100% comfortable with. If you don't have a checklist already, you need to develop one, and you need to have a checklist that if the trade that you're looking to get into does not meet the criteria of my checklist, then I don't get in that trade, right? That's the mindset you need to have going into this. If the trade setup that I'm potentially looking at does not meet all of my criteria, I don't get in. It doesn't matter. Well, what happens if it doesn't check one of your boxes, so you don't get in, and then it ends up being a great trade? You know what? It is what it is. You missed out on a couple bucks, whatever. It is what it is. But you didn't lose money either. And more than anything, you followed your rules. More than anything, you stayed disciplined. That's what is the most important thing. So make sure you don't let that FOMO get a hold of you, or that fear of missing out. Don't let that get a hold of you. That fear, it drives us to do things that is really not very wise to do. Don't go chasing after the trade. If you lose one, don't feel like I got to get my money back. Don't let any of the emotions get attached to your trading. Everything should be done by principle and not by emotion. Everything should be, and that's just not in trading. That's in life, guys. We ought not to be operating by emotion. We ought to be operating by principles. There's some principles and guidelines that we live our lives by, and there's certain things that I won't do or I will do, and it doesn't matter how I feel about it. It's just things that I know I'm going to do or not going to do. We got to have those barriers in our life. Like we're talking about trading, it's the same thing. We got to have some guidelines that we stick to. Whether we feel, I think this is going to be a great trade, I feel like this is going to be a great trade. Listen, don't worry about what you feel. Only worry about your analysis, and does this trade fulfill your checklist 100%? Let's just say you get into a trade and now you're in some drawdown. Maybe you were in profit. I tell you, one of the things that used to get me so much when I first started trading was I was pretty quick about learning how to trade. I did did well pretty fast, and finding entry was really easy for me. I just knew, based on analysis and the training that I received, I understood where to get into the market. But I would get into the market, and then maybe it would hit a level in a buy, it would hit a level of resistance and start to draw down. And I'd be freaking out. Man, I was up $100. Now I'm only up $20. Oh, am I going to lose everything? Or I'm only up $60 or whatever. And now I'm feeling like, oh, I'm going to lose everything. Maybe I should, no, you got to get that out of here. Get that out of here. Get that type of mentality out of here, because drawdown is part of trading. Can I tell you something? Pullbacks are healthy for the market. Study that out. Pullbacks are healthy for your trend. Most of the time when we look at a pullback, all it's doing is the bank is bringing down the price so they can rebuy, or they're bringing up the price so they can resell. A lot of it's market manipulation that's going on with the banks. So don't get freaked out or frazzled when you see a little drawdown in your trade. Understand that most of the time, this is healthy for my trade. It's really going to propel my trade in the right direction as long as I did the proper analysis in the first place. And don't go trying to hedge as a beginner. I see people get into these trades. It's a buy and they're going up, and now it starts to come down, so they try to chase it and sell, and then it starts to go back up again. So now they're trying to buy, and all you're doing is chasing the market, and you're gonna lose money. Any money you did win, you're gonna lose. So until you're an experienced trader, don't get into hedging, and that's a whole nother video for another time. But don't chase the market. Don't say, well, here's my level. I'm gonna buy at this level, and price is gonna come down, and when it gets to this level, I'm gonna buy. So that's good trading. So, but right here, it's right here. So why don't I just sell to here and then buy from here? Guys, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. You're trying to make the most out of it. I understand that, but all you're doing is you're gonna mess yourself out of profits. Until you're an experienced trader, don't hedge the markets. And profit is better than fear. If you're in a trade and let's say you're in profit, you're up $100 or whatever it might be, where you're up some pips, and maybe you do lose confidence. Maybe you do. Listen, if you're in profit, it's okay sometimes to just close it and take the profit. I would rather you walk away with $50 and then the price continues to go up and you could have gotten 100. Well, yeah, you missed out on $50, but you didn't lose money. You walked away with $50. Whatever that is, it's okay to take profit. It's okay to take your profit and run, walk away. It's like so at some point, and I'm just being real with you guys. I'm being transparent and real with you. Some of you got to get this gambling mentality out of your way. This is not gambling. This is not gambling. We're not throwing the dice, black, 7 on black, hoping for the best, right? We are getting into a market based on a skilled strategy that we have, based on understanding of bank manipulation and prices and supply and demand and trends and support and resistance and all kinds of different things. We understand these things, so we're not making gambled guesses. We're making educated decision in the market. We have to stop with this kind of gambling mentality that what if we lose, or what we have to just be confident in your analysis, and it's okay to walk away with some profit. If you didn't get it all, don't worry. Or if you lost a little bit, don't worry. Don't feel like you got to stretch it out and get every last penny out of the market. Don't feel like you got to stretch it out, and if you didn't get 100 out of 100 pips, that you were a failure. No, if you got 60 out of the 100 that it gave you, you won. You had a win today. You caught 60 pips. Maybe this move ended up measuring out at 100 pips, but you only caught 50 of them. You won. You got 50 pips. You have more money today than you had yesterday. You won. Stop gambling, trying to extend it out and get every last little penny out of the market, because most of the time it turns around and you lose because of it. Take your money and walk away. Be confident. Don't have that FOMO. I'm going to miss out. Forget that. Take your money and walk away. And guess what? You had a good day in the market. Okay? And remember this, your stop loss is your best friend. Always remember to have a stop loss. Don't trade without a stop loss. You know, make sure that while you're in a trade that you understand where that stop loss is and you adjust it accordingly. And that's another video for another time as far as trailing stop loss. But be confident and make sure you move your stop loss with your profit to secure your profit and close partial trades. That's okay. Do all that. The basis of what I'm telling you today, guys, be confident. Do the right preparation. And then guess what? That time while you're in the trade, you're not going to be freaking out because you're going to trust the analysis that you made. You're going to measure twice, cut once. You're not going to freak out and start tinkering like people do with their fantasy football lineups. You're not gambling. You're not just throwing dice and hoping for the best. All of it comes down to analysis and preparation. And I'm confident that you're going to have a great week in the market when you prepare, analyze, double check, triple check, have a second set of eyes, take a look on it, do everything you can to check those boxes. And when you get into a trade, be confident in that trade. Confident that your analysis is good. And if you're not a confident trader yet, stay on your demo account until you are. Don't go trading real money. Don't put your grocery money in the market and you're not even confident on a demo account yet. This is not a get rich quick thing. Forex is not that. Forex is a skill that we take from education and training and time and grinding, and it's an amazing thing. But it takes time to learn, and it takes time to build the confidence and preparation that we need to stay in a trade and not have to feel like we are looking down at it constantly or tinkering with it, adjusting it. Do the right preparation, have the right mindset, and then once you're in that trade, trust your analysis, trust yourself. You did the work, trust the work you put in. If you can't trust the work you put in, that's a different conversation. But your mindset is there. If you grind, if you put the right work in, you got this. Take the trade, be confident in it, and just let's get it, okay? Let's get this money in the market. I trust you're going to have a great week. Let's get it, guys. All right, there you have it. I hope this video helped you out. Being prepared and having confidence. That's what develops the proper mindset for trading. It's all about preparation. That's what's going to set you up for success in the market. And guys, I know we have a lot of new people on the channel, people that maybe haven't been around for a long time. First, I want to say welcome. And second, I want to make sure that you're aware of the different opportunities. We drop videos every Monday and Thursday. Make Moves Monday, and we have our training on the charts on Thursday. We have the mentorship program. Make sure you visit the website, tradinggetpaid.com, and just click on where it says mentorship, and we can get you plugged into the group. We have people that are winning, we're getting profits, and we're winning as a team. The whole team is eating, guys. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, click the bell so you get notifications, and I'll see you next week. Let's have a good week on the charts. Let's get it.